Review copy provided by ColdIron Stuidos. The Alien franchise has always had a tumultuous time when it comes to expanding their universe in media. Often it's a mixed bag, with some products being subpar and a few that shine brightly. This is especially true when it comes to video games. Thanks to disasters like Alien Colonial Marines, it has been hard for the series to regain a footing when it comes to producing video games based in the Alien world. Alien Isolation back in 2014 redeemed the franchise and paved the way for more Alien games to be produced. So with that, I give you my review of the next big Alien title, Aliens Fireteam Elite. Aliens Fireteam Elite is launching on the 24th of August 2021. It's available for PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X. There are also free upgrades if you should buy the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One versions of the game and you want to upgrade to the current gen consoles as well. But what is Aliens Fireteam Elite all about? Well, when it comes to the story of the game, the year is 2202. A mysterious distress call is picked up by your Marine Expeditionary Unit, which leads you to LV-895, found in the Outer Colonies. Here your Marine unit encounters deadly Xenomorph legions, hidden corporate secrets, and ancient alien ruins, as you uncover what the distress call is all about. Now I'll be keeping spoilers to a minimum during this review, but the story is almost like a smorgasbord of fan service. It has players taking control of their own colonial marine and explore areas and take on missions that any Alien fan would die for. From space stations similar to Sevastopol in Alien Isolation, to the ruins found in Prometheus, to the hive found in Aliens. The locations in this game clearly show a love for the series. Most of the story is told through comms chatters as well as interactions with your fellow NPCs and soldiers back upon the Endeavour, which is the name of your colonial marine ship, which could have been done a little bit better, especially when it comes to the animations of the faces of the NPCs, but nonetheless, the actual voice acting and the comms chatters and the way the story is presented to us and told to us as we're going through missions is performed well. It definitely doesn't feel out of place when compared to the Alien movies, books and other works of media from the Alien franchise. On top of that, more story can be revealed by collecting intel found in the various levels, which give you more backstory through audio logs or more interactions with the NPCs found on the Endeavour. Overall though, the story is maybe the weakest aspect, but I wouldn't call it bad in any means. The story campaign is quite linear in some respects, as you work your way through missions, unlocking more story as you go along. And should you put the time in to read and listen to the intel, you'll find an interesting story which should please any Alien fan. Now when it comes to the gameplay of Alien Fireteam Elite, it is a co-op survival shooter. It is also not the start of a Xenomorph outbreak, where a single Xenomorph is taking on unprepared civilians, stalking them through the environments, air shafts and more. Basically, it's not the same situation as Alien Isolation. This is the situation where the Xenomorphs have won. There are thousands of them now, of all shapes and sizes. They have been spawned from humans, indigenous life and more. So you are dealing with a full hive. That is why the Colonial Marines are being sent in. You need to investigate the distress call and stop the hive from spreading further. You and your fire team will be overrun by the sheer amount of Xenomorphs that will swarm your location. So use all the firepower available to the Colonial Marines to cut your way through the wave and reach your objectives. The best advice is to endure, adapt and survive. Now as it is a co-op shooter, going in as a team is vital. You can play solo or as a duo. The empty slots will be filled by the Endeavour's AI. These buddies are called Alpha and Beta. They're okay, but to be honest, they're no replacement for an actual human partner. They will be fine when taking on the game on the lower difficulties, but should you want to bump up the challenge, take on the higher difficulties, it is strongly recommended that you play Aliens Fireteam Elite with a group of friends. This will not only make things easier, especially when it comes to those said higher difficulties, but it makes the experience more fun as well. Seeing human reactions to what happens in the game, what happens in the story, was one of the highlights of the game for me. And it tries to replicate the camaraderie found in the movies such as Aliens. Now when it comes to taking on the missions, they're divided into campaign and horde mode. Campaign is basically a series of 4 missions subdivided into 3 further missions for a total of 12 levels in total, and this will have you and your friends going through the story of the game as you take on multiple enemies and find a way to stop the Xenomorph outbreak. During the campaign for the first time, you'll be able to choose between various loadout kits, otherwise known as character classes. These include the Gunner, which is a straightforward all-round character. You have the Demolisher, which is an incredibly strong damage dealer. These are the characters who have access to the smart guns and such. You have Technicians, which are all about crowd control and turrets. And then you have Doctors, which are your healers. You'll also gain access to a fifth character class known as the Recon class, which is a combination of a support and precision damage dealer. All of these characters have access to a wide range of weaponry, attachments, perks, combat consumables, and cosmetic items as well. You can also fully customize your Marine in terms of their looks, so you can make them look like yourself or whatever you fancy. For me, when it comes to the loadout kits, this is one of the highlights for me. Being able to customize your characters as well as their perks, weaponry, attachments and more, it allows for builds in this game. Say you're playing as the Gunner, you could choose to specialize in your abilities, your weaponry, or a combination of the two. That level of customization when it comes to any game will definitely grab my attention. Now, as you work your way through the game, completing the campaign missions, you'll level up your characters. These will unlock further perks for you to use, to which you can customize your characters, like I said, and create different builds. This is all done via a perk grid that allows you to augment your build and customize it further. On top of that, after you've completed each mission, you'll be rewarded with new weapons and attachments, as well as requisition credits and reputation script. The weapons and attachments are pretty self-explanatory, but the credits and script that you earn, you will be able to spend back on the Endeavour at the requisition shop for new weaponry, equipment, or cosmetic items. So this kind of adds to the replayability of Alien's Fireteam Elite. You're able to take on missions multiple times to earn these credits in order to purchase even better items. On top of that, there are other ways to earn credits and items via the hidden caches that are found on each map. Basically every map you take on, except for in Horde mode, every campaign map, you'll be able to find a hidden cache that changes place every time you take on a level, which will contain potential cosmetic items, perks for your perk grid, weapon attachments, and more. So always keep an eye out for them. On top of that, you'll have daily missions as well as a weekly mission, which are referred to as tactical opportunities. These could be anything from take on a certain amount of enemies using a heavy weapon or a close combat weapon, to play one mission as the Doctor or play 3 missions as the Demolisher. You can also challenge yourself as well using challenge cards, which are buffs, or to be honest, debuffs to your squad before you go on a mission. These can change aspects of the game, for example, allowing no health kits on the map, reducing your ammo capacity, so on and so forth, but in return for completing these challenge cards and quests, you'll gain increased experience or credits as your reward. Finally, when it comes to replayability in this game, you'll have access to different difficulty levels. You'll have 3 to start off with 2 more becoming unlocked when you finish the campaign for the first time. But with all those details aside, at the end of the day, this is a great third-person co-op survival game. The movement feels easy and smooth, progression through the levels is simple and straightforward, Horde mode works like you would expect any other Horde mode to, so people who've experienced Horde modes in Gears of War, Mass Effect multiplayer, Uncharted multiplayer will know what to expect here. You'll experience waves of enemies coming at you, to which you have to try your best to fend them off with all that you have. Aiming feels smooth, shooting and using your abilities can feel impactful, which led for a surprisingly enjoyable experience. When it comes to the enemies you fight, you'll fight different factions basically, each stemming from one aspect of the Alien franchise. Obviously the main event is the Xenomorphs, but you'll also find yourself fighting synthetics and mutant type creatures that have been affected through the pathogen. I'd love to talk more about the enemy types, but they could be considered spoilers. All I will say is that anyone who knows the extended Alien universe will be impressed, especially when it comes to the Xenomorphs. You're not fighting just one basic Xenomorph type, you're fighting multiple ones, and they all function differently. They are similar in ways to what you would find in Left 4 Dead. Whereas Left 4 Dead had specialist zombies, the Xenomorphs have specialist bugs that perform roles that aid their overall swarm and throw a spanner in the works when it comes to your fireteam's plan. Now when it comes to the presentation of Alien Fireteam Elite, I am very impressed. Being a budget game, I wasn't expecting too much, and when I first booted up the game, I wasn't too impressed. It seemed fine, there wasn't anything bad about it, but as I progressed through the campaign, namely when I got to the second mission and onwards, I started to become really impressed by the environments and the level of detail in them. On top of that, I should really mention that the sound effects for the weaponry and the music that plays in the background. It's like being in an Alien movie, to be honest. I can't say anything better about it. The classic sound when you fire your pulse rifle, to the whoosh of the flamethrower when you activate it, to the screams of the aliens. It all helps immerse you into the alien world they've produced here. On top of that, they've added their own little touches. For example, when you headshot an alien, there's a little bit of a musical sting that you would expect to find in Alien or Aliens. There has also been a lot of attention to detail when it comes to the environments. Each environment that is themed off of one aspect of the Alien franchise. ColdIron Studios have definitely done their research. From the ruins that are akin to what you would see in the Prometheus movie, to the hive that you would see in Aliens. It feels very authentic, and once again, it adds to your overall immersion. When it comes to the character models of Alien Fireteam Elite, they are fine. Some definitely seem to have a little bit more love than others. For example, the Xenomorphs clearly have had a lot more attention when compared to some of the other enemy factions. On top of that, the Marines themselves are detailed enough, and you can come out with quite some interesting looking Marines when it comes to the customizations. Although the NPC Marines are a little bit lacking, especially when it comes to movement when they're delivering their lines when talking to them on the Endeavour. This is a little bit of a shame, but to be honest, overall it doesn't detract from my overall experience. So overall, Alien Fireteam Elite was a complete surprise, to be honest. I wasn't expecting much given the Alien franchise when it comes to video games and their track record, but I am pleased to say that I thoroughly enjoyed Alien Fireteam Elite. For me personally, it had many elements found in different games such as Destiny, the Mass Effect multiplayer, Gears of War Horde mode, and threw them into a blender topped off with the Alien universe. Whilst the story wasn't in your face, and for me wasn't the forefront of the game, the presentation and especially the gameplay were the highlights. Playing the entire game with two of my friends, I can clearly say for the 20 to 30 hours we played it, we had a fantastic time. For all three of us to be enjoying this game as much as we did, it's got to be doing something right. The only caveat to all of this is that this game is more enjoyable when played with friends, and I know you can say that about any game, but this game is designed to be played as a group, and it makes the experience so much more fulfilling. If you have a group of friends that you play with regularly and you don't mind third-person shooters, and especially if you do love the Alien franchise, I would highly recommend this game. On top of that, with it being a budget game with free DLC and support on the way, I am glad for once to see that another Alien game has been given the love that the franchise deserves overall. But until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my review of Aliens Fireteam Elite. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.